Today we're with Ralph Stanley, one of the pioneer of the three-finger banjo pickers in what's now called bluegrass. When Ralph started playing with his brother Carter back in the mid-40s, they were playing old-time music, at least what we call old-time music now, and putting their own style to it. Ralph was raised with old-time music and eventually developed his own three-finger style of banjo picking. But all down through the years and all the programs that he and Carter put on, and then that he has also played with his own band, he's always kept some of the old-time style of banjo picking and singing in his music. So what we're going to do today is to trace his early musical development through some of the old-time styles that he plays and through his development of his own three-finger banjo picking. So here's Ralph Stanley.
Thank you, Mike, for the nice introduction, and I hope we can get together and show the folks a lot of the way things was back in the old days.
Well, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about both the banjo picking and the singing that you were raised with by your mother and father.
Well, most of the singing that I was raised with, we didn't do too much music. We went to the old churches where they didn't have any music, and we would sing like that. Of course, when I started playing the banjo, my mother, she taught me to play a couple of tunes on the old 5-string.
Did your mother or father ever sing any of those old songs that there was no music to, the old ballads and things?
They would both sing them in church, and then lots of times neighbors would come in and maybe form like 6 or 8 different singers and would visit each other at night. And I know a lot of times they would sing maybe till 12 o'clock at night, and back at then that was late.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a radio too, or was that before the radio was around?
Well, at first we didn't have a radio, but as soon as the radios come out, I guess, well, we did get a radio. I think that was about 1936.
Well, I wonder if you could show us a little bit of the banjo picking that you first learned, maybe the first tune that you learned from your mother in the style that she played.
Mike, I'll try to. It was what I call the Clawhammer, and the tune was Shout Little Luley, and I play it just a little bit different now than she did then, but you want me to show, if I can, as much as I can like she played it?
Yes, first. Yeah.
Okay. She used the one finger and thumb and hit the strings clear with her notes. Mm-hmm. And I use maybe both of these fingers a little bit the way that I play it to make a little rhythm.
That sounds like an unusual tuning, Ralph. I wonder if you could just rake across the strings open and show us what tuning you have it in.
Yeah, I sure will, Mike. See, where you usually play it in a G tuning, mm-hmm. You tune the second up, mm-hmm. and the fourth down. So here's...
Is there a name for that tuning?
I just call it, sometimes I call it the old sawmill gear.
Mm-hmm. Did your mom have a name for the style of banjo picking that she was doing?
Not really. She just called it, you know, the old-time way, and I sort of put the label Clawhammer on it. Mm-hmm. When I do this, something like a clawhammer. Clawing, mm-hmm. you know, or clawing, I mean.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you could show us once more, real slow as you possibly can, the way that she used to play.
I'll do my best. In order to keep your hand, you know, in motion, it's hard, but I'll try my best. times you might just foul up just a little bit to doing it slow like that. Whether if you was going on, well, it'd be more relaxed for you.
Well, why don't you do it real fast right now? What's the name of that tune, anyway?
Shout Little Lully.
Okay.
Yeah, Shout Little Lully. I've recorded that several different times in the last 46 years.
How come you keep on playing the old-time style now? A lot of people have left that behind, but you haven't.
That's mostly the reason that I do, because there's not anybody else much that does. And I like it. Actually, it's harder for me to play that than it is to use the fingers and thumb, but I like it, and I like to keep it around because, like you said, there's not too many. Well, I don't know of anybody really that plays that same way there.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different ways of getting that clawhammer lick, and Ralph Stanley knows at least 4 that I've seen, and he's shown you one that he learned from his mother so far. I wonder if you could show the other ways, Ralph.
Mike, I'll do my best to, and the first way that I'll do it, I'll use my thumb up on the 5th string, and then I'll use this one finger here coming up on it, as you'll notice.
Could you slow that down a little bit for them, and so they can see just what that finger is doing? That's a busy first. So you're just using one finger to pull up, and then brush down.
Right. Okay. So now I'll still use the one finger and the thumb, but I'll hit down on it instead of coming up. It's been a while since I've done that.
That's kind of like the way that your mother played then, isn't it?
So, yeah, something like that, yeah. And then this is another, and I do a little different. I use these fingers to get a little rhythm with, and I still come up on this finger.
So up with the first finger?
Yeah, up with the first finger, but I use these fingers a little with it.
Okay. Okay. Now, there's one more way.
One more way, and that's when I go down on it, hit it downward, and using these fingers here for rhythm this way.
So it's down with your first finger?
Down, well, I hit the strings with about 3 of them, I guess. This is the most important, but this just gives it a little rhythm.
But first, is it first just with one finger?
Yeah, I'll hit first with one finger, but these will be right behind it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe as I do it, you can get more about it. I'll try to play it as slow as I can.
Okay. which of those is the one that you usually do when you're playing that song?
Usually I do the last one. It's a little bit easier, and that other's hard to do if you don't just, just do it every day, and which I haven't done it in several years.
Well, I wonder if you could sing a few verses of the song and pick it in your favorite way on the banjo, just
Yeah,
here.
I'll try to. It might not be the right key for me to do my best singing in, but I'll,
Should we raise it up a little bit?
well, maybe I can get by here.
Okay.
I'll play it maybe one time this way and then once this way,
Okay.
I'll claw it once and then I'll hit it down once.
Okay.
Little birdie, won't you sing to me a song? Got a short time to stay here and a long time to be gone. Little birdie, what makes you fly so high? When you know that my true love is awaiting in the sky. It's the very best I could do it.
Your dad was a good old-time singer, I understand.
Yeah, he was. He done most of his singing in the churches, though. He never did play any music, but he was a good singer. A lot of times, I've done some of this lining like they did in the old-time churches that I was raised up in, and he was very good at that old-time singing.
Did he sing any of those old love songs? It seems to me that you said that he sang some song like a Brown Girl or the House Carpenter. Or...
Yeah, back when I was real small, he done a little of that. I've heard him sing "A Man of Constant Sorrow" and "Pretty Polly" and "The Brown Girl" and maybe "House Carpenter," something like that. But I forgot them old songs. I was real small when he was doing that, because in later years, he just strictly done church songs.
Mm-hmm. Would you remember a verse or two of the Brown Girl or House Carpenter, just to sing without any music at all?
I'll try. Let's see. I might know maybe a verse of the Brown Girl, and I may not know a full verse. Let's see. I don't know what key to get in. Come, fathers, come, mothers, I'll ask you both. I'll ask you both as one, whether I should marry pretty fair Ellen or bring the brown girl home. The brown girl, she has house and land, fair Ellen, she has none. And if you'll take warning from such kind friends, you'll bring the brown girl home. That was a little low, and that's all I can remember of it.
Well, that's pretty. I hear a lot of that same feeling in your singing with the band. Your singing style brings back a lot of that old feeling. Do you work at that, or is it just what happens, or?
Mike, I couldn't sing it any other way. I think it just comes natural. I think it's born and bred in you. Like I said, my daddy had a lonesome voice, and I had a great uncle that was an old Baptist preacher. And a lot of people that remembers him, they say that I sound just like him. And he was one of the biggest preachers that ever was in our part of the country, down in the southwestern part of Virginia. He would ride horses for miles. They would call him everywhere, all over the county, to come preach. Mm-hmm. And people tell me that I've got a lot of a lot of his sound.
Well, a lot of people take the older songs and bring them more modern, and the thing that you've done, it seems to me, is to keep some of that same old feeling there. How can you get away with that?
Well, I really don't know. Maybe we might change some of the old songs a little bit, but I know that we do keep a lot of the old sound in it. I like that old sound, and I'm proud that a lot of our people does. And I've got a lot of fans that all, they want the clawhammer banjo and they want the old time singing. Sometimes I'll line a song like I heard it do in church back when I was just a small boy. The reason that the preacher lined that song, he would be up in the stand, and a lot of times they would only have one songbook. So the congregation, the people that was helping sing, they didn't know the words to the song, and that's the way that he lined it out, and then they followed the lines.
Let's get back to the banjo here. Now, there's at least a couple other tunings that you picked the banjo in, and I wonder if we could get it down into the G.
We'll do her.
There's a lick that I want to get the folks to see here. You were playing it out when we were warming up here, where you go down on that string and then get something on the backstroke.
Tickle it a little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll play a tune that I made myself, Cutting the Cornbread.
Good. I know this isn't your usual Stanley tone banjo. Is this anything like the banjo that you first played?
Yeah, it certainly is. I learned to play on an old, back then they called it a 39 bracket. And in those days, the more brackets they had, well, the better the banjo was. If you happen to see a banjo with maybe 15 or 16 brackets, why, it wasn't any good. And I had one 39 brackets. Now this one's got 30, and it reminds me of it a whole lot. And it sounds a lot like it. If you don't mind, let me do that just once on this other banjo.
Why don't you take your own banjo?
I'm more used to it. I'll just reach over here and get it. It's that's a fine banjo, but you know, the instrument's a little awkward unless you're used to it.
I understand. Ralph, I wonder if you could show us that sneaky tickling of the strings where you knock down on that first string and then pull back up on it real fast. I think it especially happens in the high part of cutting the cornbread.
I'll do my best. It's hard to get that little sneaky lick, you know, slow, but I'll get it as slow as I can.
Now, when you do it fast, it sounds quite different than that.
Mhm.
How about playing it up to speed a little bit
All
for
right.
us? Did you used to hear old-time banjo pickers play in this tuning?
Yeah, yeah. My mother played some in the G tuning.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you could play us one tune that you learned from her in this tuning.
Well, I probably could. Maybe going up Cripple Creek. I never was too good on that, but I could try it again.
I'll just give a little bit.
Okay. That's the way they ended it. Wasn't any shave and a haircut.
Yeah, just stop. Huh?
Yeah.
So that's the G tuning.
That's the G tuning, yeah.
Well, we've talked about the music that you had around home from your folks, but we haven't talked much about the kind of music that maybe you heard people doing shows and maybe on the radio. What were some of the people that you saw who did or heard that played that kind of music? You go out to a schoolhouse or something like
You mean
that.
it played some of the music like we've been talking about?
Some of the early country entertainers that you might go out to a show and see.
Okay, yeah, the Mainers Mountaineers, that was Wade and J.E., they were brothers. And, of course, the Carter family. See, I was raised just adjoining counties with the old original Carter family. And then we heard the Delmore brothers, the Monroe brothers, and then later Bill Monroe, Grandpa Jones, people like that.
Did you hear some of them in person?
Yeah, I believe the first show that I saw on the stage in person was Delmore Brothers and Bill Monroe, where they played the high school that I graduated from, and they were there together on a double show.
Hmm. What kind of an effect did that have on you?
Well, it's hard to explain. It just I don't know, just tore me all to pieces. Didn't know what to think. I'd heard some on the radio, but when I saw them perform in person, why, that was something else. How I'd like to be up there doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you and Carter did you have the idea of doing that at that time?
We always wanted to, but I might go back a little farther than what we're talking about now. But when we first got our radio in 1936, we didn't have any instruments. And we had a grate and a fireplace. We burned wood and what we call kindling. Now, kindling is where you split up. We always used dead chestnut. There was a lot of dead chestnut timber. And we would split that up fine, and then you'd take your knife and you'd shave down on that, make big shaving, and just leave them sticking on there.
Mm-hmm.
Get you 3 or 4 pieces, and then that's the way you would start your fire of a morning. So when we would hear the fiddles and the instruments on the radio, we made us some out of them kindling sticks. So when, well, especially the Grand Ole Opry, when it would come on Saturday night, we'd get the sticks and play right along with them.
Well, how'd you tell who's playing what?
You couldn't.
That's right. Well, did you all sing some with that too?
I don't think we did it that early at that time. But another one I'd like to mention is we lived way back in the country in the hills there, and they brought our mail, carried the mail on a horse, and this fellow, his name was Woodrow Owens, and he played the harmonica, and he rode this old horse, and there was a big curve, something like, I'd say, a quarter of a mile from where we lived, but you could see when they come around the curve. And you could hear that horse's feet a-patting, and you could hear that old harmonica. He'd lay the reins out on the horse's neck, and you could hear that harmonica, and boy, it sounded good. So we'd watch for him, and then when he'd get to our mailbox, well, that's where we'd be sitting, Carter and me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes he would sit there for an hour and play that harmonica for us.
Well, then you had this idea with the kindling for a while, and then eventually you started playing some music.
Well, we finally got a guitar. That same mailman brought Carter's guitar to him on that horse. Of course, I bought my banjo, or my parents did, from my aunt. She lived just below us, and I was really mixed up. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Now, Carter was always, you know, he knew what he wanted. Mm-hmm. And I had in mind maybe to make a veterinarian at one time, farm a little bit. So my aunt had some pigs, sow and raised some pigs. And she sold them at $5 a piece. And she had a banjo. She wanted $5 for it. So my mother told me, said, now you can't have both, but whichever one you want, I'm going to buy for you. And so I chose the banjo, which I'm very glad I did. And we had just a little store of a thing there, and I know she traded that banjo out in groceries. $5 worth. But that was a big load then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, did you and Carter start singing songs then that you learned from your folks, or from the people, these professional musicians that were coming?
From the professional musicians we heard. Mm-hmm. Of course, I always was done more of the church singing than Carter did. I was all the time going around humming or doing some of that old time singing with no music.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you started playing, the two of you, then you were picking the banjo most of the time, is that right?
Right, yeah, I was picking the banjo, and Carter was playing the guitar. And we just started singing. And I guess we sounded pretty bad, I don't know, because our daddy would run us out of the house. We'd have to go to the barn or somewhere and rehearse.
But after a while, you made it into the house.
After a while, we made it into the house, and he was very proud of us, I think, yeah.
When you picked the banjo in those days, what style did you use in the early times with you and Carter?
Well, actually, when we started playing, I didn't do much of the clawhammer. I was doing the one, just a finger and thumb. I'll tell you who I heard do that was Wade Maynard. You know, I mentioned Maynard's Mountaineers. Mm-hmm. And I don't guess I played exactly like he did, but that's where I got my idea to do the one finger and thumb.
I wonder if you could show us some of that style. Did you wear picks from the start when you did that style?
No, I don't believe I had picks. I just don't remember, but I don't think I did at the start when I played that. I can do it either way. I can do it without the picks. I used to pick Little Maggie that way. Mm. Now, why did you pick that style rather than the old claw style then? Well, I just thought that matched songs better. The clawhammer, you know, you have to go on pretty speedy with that, and you sing a lot of slow songs that the clawhammer just don't match.
Mm-hmm. It was in the late 40s then, I guess, that you You started playing the three-finger style.
Yeah, I started trying to play that about, I guess, 1947. Yeah.
How come?
I just liked it better, and still I didn't want to copy anybody, but I wanted to play it, but I wanted to do it my own way. I never could copy anybody on singing or playing or nothing like that. I couldn't, I don't think, if I'd have wanted to, but really I didn't want to. I wanted to get me a sound of my own, and if people liked it, well, that'd be fine. I hope they have.
You definitely have your own style in that three-finger way. I wonder if you could show one of the first pieces that you learned to play three-finger style, and then we'll get the band to back you up after.
Let me get my picks out. I don't know which one was the first I learned to play, but since I played a little Maggie there, the one finger, I'll just play a little of it if you want me to.
Great. I wonder if you could just slow this little Maggie with the three-finger style down a little bit, or a good deal.
Drinking away trouble, she's courting another man. Lay down your last gold on, lay down your gold watch and chain. Little Maggie's gonna dance for Daddy. Listen to this old banjo.
Where's that ring, Ralph?
Polly, pretty Polly, would you take me unkind? Polly, pretty Polly, would you take me unkind? Me to sit beside you and tell you well, my mind is to marry and never to part. My mind is to marry, never to part. First time I saw you, it wounded my heart. Well, they led her over mountains and valleys so deep. He led her over mountains, valleys so deep. Always trusting in the end. Saying, Willie, little Willie, I'm afraid of your way. Well, little Willie, I'm afraid of your way. The way you've been rambling, you lead me astray. Go away, little man. Go and do the best you can. I'll get me another one. You can get you another man.
Well, I was watching that thumb there, it was working the 5th string, and the 4th string, and the 3rd string, and sometimes even the 2nd string.
I had that fifth finger busy, didn't I?
Well, how would you describe the role that you're doing there?
Well, I'll tell you now. I mostly do a forward roll. Now and then I'll do something different. I call it sort of punctuating, like you know, maybe putting a comma in it or something like a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know really how to explain that, but that's the best that I know. And like 1, 2, 3. That's my basic roll.
I wonder if you could play us the first tune that you ever made up for the banjo, and play it slow now, and then we'll play it with the band after a while.
I'll do my best to play it, and this tune was named after my home county, Dickinson County, Virginia, and it's Dickinson County Breakdown.
Okay. Ralph, I'd like to get you to tell the folks a little bit about the hardware that you're using now. Might as well start with the banjo.
Okay, I'm playing a Stanley tone banjo, Mike, and I think it's one of the best, if not the best, of any banjo that you can find today. And I designed this banjo, and it's being made by Frank Neat in Russell Springs, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. It's arch top, it looks like, and
It is. I've always played an arch top ever since I've been playing.
Mm-hmm. What kind of strings do you use on it?
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, there's several of the companies that gives me strings, and I haven't bought a string, I guess, in 20 years, and just whichever one that gives them to me most recently, well, that's what I use.
Well,
I use the light gauge.
Light gauge?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And what kind of picks do you have there, Ralph?
Well, I believe that's a Dunlop mic, and I've used them about all the time since I've been playing the banjo. Maybe you can see them there.
And they come pretty far off the end of your fingers there, it looks like,
Yeah,
too.
they do. Yeah. I just put them up far enough so they won't come off.
When did you put Hard Times together now? How did that come about?
Well, I guess I probably made Hard Times, I would say in the early 50s, or between 1950 and 1955. I know I recorded it in 1955.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of funny chords and things in it, and how I ever found them, I don't know. And there's not too many even guitar players that can follow you on that. Of course, I've got guitar players that can, but there's a lot of people that can't.
I think that's a wonderful tune, and it's the only one that I know that. Do you do other tunes in that banjo tuning?
Yeah, sometimes I do a train 45 in sort of the old-time style.
I wonder if you could drop it down into that other tuning. Do you have a name for this tuning too?
I call it the sawmill key.
Okay.
It's in a D chord. You lower your second. Third. And the fifth. Now sometimes I mess it up too. I was telling about other people. Tough one to play.
Especially that first part. It is really odd, and I wonder if I could get you to run that over even a little slower than that if you can.
Hard times. It was really hard times back when I made that tune. That's why we called it Hard Times.
How come? What was hard back
Well,
then?
money was scarce, and you didn't have too many people when you went out to put on a show, and a lot of times you had to put the show on before you could eat supper or buy gas to get home. Hard times.
That was different than it had been in the 40s, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was during the 50s. About the time that the rock and roll, you know, started. Well, that really hurt the bluegrass. And a lot of the bluegrass entertainers faded out during the 50s. There wasn't but just maybe 2 or 3 groups that had lasted and stayed with it.
How about the Clinch Mountain back step?
Yeah, I can do that.
Let's get that back up into, is that in G?
Yeah, I tuned back up in G. Best part about the tuning, it don't cost anything extra.
How did you come to put that piece together?
That's got a lot of 2 or 3 different tunes in it. Pretty Polly, a little Liza Jane, and maybe a little bit of Little Maggie. It's just got some old timers that I just mixed up together and come up with it.
Did you ever play that in the old time banjo style, or did you
No.
always play that with 3 fingers?
I've always played that with 3 fingers. The way I choke them notes there, it's hard to get the right lick on the clawhammer.
Ralph, what tips would you give to a beginning banjo picker who wanted to play this kind of music?
Mike, I guess I might be just a little bit tough on younger musicians, but I have always been my theory for people to get something of their own, something different. If there's anything left to get different on a banjo, it would be hard. But I'd say if anybody ever did come up with anything that it would really pay off. There's so many banjo players that can just really, work on a banjo, really play it. But there's so many that you can't tell who it is unless you look at them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That would be my best advice, if there's any way possible to get their own style.
To actually technically get started in their picking, though, how would you do that then?
Well, I would just, whoever my favorite banjo player was, I'd get some of their records and try to get their roll, and then try to, anything that I could change in it, they would probably have to get somebody's roll, and then just, it'd be hard. That'd be tough on anybody to do that. But if they ever did, I know I was talking to a fellow one time that was talking about, I can't think of his name, but we were talking about the three-finger roll. And he said if anybody would ever come up with just to double that three fingers some way, that would do it, and that would do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how it could be done. I was afraid to try it.
Well, that might happen sometime.
It could happen.
I guess that's a tip right there. It's a challenge to some young
Yeah.
banjo picker.
A lot of young people, 10, 12, 13, 14 years old, is learning overnight what took some of the old timers half of their life to learn. Because the Bible says gets weaker and wiser, don't it? People gets weaker and wiser.
Mm-hmm.
That might be it.
I've been noticing when you're picking the banjo, sometimes on the same part of the tune, sometimes you'll bring your thumb over to catch that note, and sometimes you'll just use your first finger. Now, how do you, not decide, but how do you figure out how to do that?
Well, that's something that I never notice. I know I do it, and sometimes I'll catch it when I'm doing it, but why, I don't know. It might change the sound a little, but I don't realize it when I do it.
You're down in the detuning here?
Down in the detuning, yeah.
Well, how about doing that old favorite, is it Train 45?
Train 45. We recorded it sort of this way, and we did some talking in it, and, but it takes, the whole band to do that. But I'll play it just a little bit, as much as I can, like we did. That's the old time, Train 45. Played years ago that way.
Now, were you watching your thumb at all that time? Were you thinking about that?
No, I wasn't watching it.
I was watching, and it was sometimes doing it one way, sometimes doing it the other way.
Maybe I let it rest sometimes.
Ralph, I wonder if you could show the folks the lead to one of your more popular songs, the How Mountain Girls Can Love.
I'll try.
Get down, boys, go back home, back to the girl you love. Treat her right, never wrong. getting happy. You whispered to me while I held you close. You hope that night would never end. Get down, boys, go back home, back to the girl you love. Treat her right, never wrong. How my girls love. High cold wind on a cloud, no lonesome. Thanks, feel it's blue, wondering why I left you. Get down, boys, go back home, back to the girl you love. Treat her right, never wrong, how girls love.
Do you play around home very much? Play music on your banjo or whatever at home?
I went for several years that I hardly ever picked up the banjo at home. And you know, I've got a young son that's just come along. He's about 13 or 14 years old, and he's playing the guitar. And just maybe 2 or 3 times a week now, he'll come carrying the banjo and the guitar in and say, "Let's play a little bit, Dad."
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that might help me to stay limbered up just a little bit.
I wonder if we could ask him to join you and do one of those songs that you do at home.
I believe he'd like it.
Okay, let's do that.
Folks, this is Father and Son. I'm Ralph 1 and he's Ralph 2 with the Wildwood Flower. Folks, before the guitar was ever thought much about, they used to have the banjo and fiddle around, and the banjo and fiddle had to do their thing together. And what I'm going to do is he'll be doing the fiddling, and I'll just do some background playing with him. And this young gentleman here has been with me for 26 years at this time. And he has never missed a show on the road in 26 years. He's been laid 15 times, and he's been drunk on 14 shows. And we call him all 396 pound of what you see is what you get. The old Kentucky fox hunter, Curly Ray Klein. Folks, this next tune we're going to play here, Curly Ray Klein here and me wrote this. on a trip when we was out in California back several years ago. And I'm going to do some more of the background picking behind Curly, and also I'm going to take a little bit of lead. So this one, we named this one after Curly Ray's rooster, Rojo. I used to hear this old timer here back when I was just a small boy, and it was always one of my favorite tunes, and I think Curly Ray does a good job on Sarwood Mountain. Folks, this next number we're going to play has been played and sung about every way that anybody could play it. It's been done slow, it's been done fast, and I've tuned the old 5 up now in the C tuning, and we're going to do it the way that we like to do it. Be pretty fast, I guess, Curly.
I'll try to keep up with you.
What about John Henry, the Steel Driving Man?
I send
Oh,
thee?
Lordy.
How will I send thee? Oh, I'm gonna send thee one by one, for the one was a little bitty baby born. Children born in Bethlehem. Children go where I send
Oh,
thee.
Lordy.
How will I send thee? Oh, I'm gonna send thee two by two, for the two was Paul and Silas. One was a little bitty baby born. Children born in Bethlehem. Children go where I send
Oh,
thee.
Lordy.
How will I send thee? Oh, I'm gonna send thee three by three, for the three was the Hebrew children. Two was Paul and Silas. One was a little bitty baby born. Children born in Bethlehem. Children go where I send
Oh,
thee.
Lordy.
How will I send thee? Oh, I'm gonna send thee four by four, for the four was the four that stood at the door. Three was the Hebrew children. Two was Paul and Silas. One was a little bitty baby born. Children born in Bethlehem. Children go where I send
Oh,
thee.
Lordy.
How will I send thee? Oh, I'm gonna send thee 10 by 10, for the 10 was the 10 commandments. 9 was the 9 that stood in the line. 8 was the 8 that waited at the gate. 7 was the 7 that ever got to heaven. 6 was the 6 that didn't get fixed. 5 was the 5 that come back alive. 4 was the 4 that stood at the door. 3 was the Hebrew children. 2 was the Paul and Silas. 1 was a little bitty baby born. Children born in Bethlehem. In Bethlehem. Born in Bethlehem. I may not be able to sing like the heavenly angels. I may not be able to preach like Paul. I may not be able to walk on the water like Peter. But I'm willing to try. No, I may not be able to walk
Like him.
I may not be able to talk
Like him.
I may not be able to preach
Preach
like Paul. I may not be able to walk
Like him.
I may not be able to talk
Like him. But I'm willing
to try. I may not have the obedience of Abraham's sacrifice. I may not be able to stand so tall. I may not have the endurance of Moses in the wilderness. But I'm willing to try. No, I may not be able to walk
Like him.
I may not be able to talk
Like him.
I may not be able to preach
Preach
like Paul. I may not be able to walk
Like him.
I may not be able to talk
Like him. But I'm willing
to try. Thank you. I'd like to introduce you to the Clinch Mountain boys now, and we'll start with the oldest one over here on the fiddle, Curly Ray Klein, and then we'll move over to the youngest member here. That's Ralph Stanley II. On the lead guitar is Junior Blankenship. Doing our lead singing is Ernie Thacker. And over on the big bass fiddle is the ex-mayor of Norton, Virginia, Jack Cook. She lives all alone on a dark, windy street in a room at the top of the stairs. She smokes cigarettes and stares at the wall, not knowing that my heart lives there. In the cool of the night, she takes me inside and helps soothe my troubles and pain. She's warm, she's just leave me weak. I love it when she touches my face. About the past, the sorrow and regret. She cries about the gray in her eyes. I love her so much, but she just won't believe that any man alive could ever care. She was a girl, for love had treated her unfair. She wouldn't be so sad, and she wouldn't live alone in a room at the top of the stairs.
Takes a worried man, sing a worried song. Takes a worried man, sing a worried song. Takes a worried man, sing a worried song. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long. I went down to the river and I laid down to sleep. Went down to the river and I laid down to sleep. Went down to the river, I laid down to sleep. When I woke up, had shackles on my feet. Takes a worried man to sing a worried song. Takes a worried man to sing a worried song. Takes a worried man to sing a worried song. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long. I look down the track, far as I can see. Look down the track, far as I can see. Look down the track, far as I can see. Your little white hand was waving back at me. Takes a worried man, sing a word song. Takes a worried man, sing a word song. Takes a worried man, sing a word song. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long. I asked the judge what would be my fine. I asked the judge what would be my fine. I asked the judge what would be my fine. 21 years on a Rocky Mountain line. Takes a worried man, sing a word song. Takes a worried man, sing a word song. Takes a worried man, sing a word song. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long.
We're going to change around a little bit here now and change styles on the old 5-string banjo. And I'm going to do some clawhammer. And the first one we're going to do is I've got a mule to ride, and then we'll go into Rocky Island, and we'll wind up on, well, we won't wind up, we'll do Little Birdie. And I'm going to do a couple of different licks on Little Birdie, and then we'll wind up with the first tune I ever learned to pick, Shout Little Lulie.
rode me back. I got a mule to ride. I got a mule to ride. Ain't got no saddle, but I'm ready to ride. I don't believe I'll go. I don't believe I'll go. Just to keep down talk, I don't believe I'll go. I got a mule to ride. I got a mule to ride. Ain't got no saddle, but I'm ready to ride. The ducks are to the drain.
What'd you say?
The ducks are to the drain.
Quack, quack.
If he gets my body, I have to swim this way. I got a mule to ride. I got a mule to ride. Ain't got no saddle, but I'm ready to ride.
Going on a mountain, saw a little cane. See my candy darling, sweet little Auntie Jane. Going to Rocky Island, oh honey, oh, 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 oh. See my candy darling, you know I love her so. Wish I had a big white horse, corn to feed him on. Put a little girl to stay at home and feed him when I'm gone. Going to Rocky Island, oh honey, oh, 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 oh. See my candy darling, you know I love her so. Little birdie, won't you sing to me a song? Got a short time to stay here and a long time to be gone. Folks, when I was about 11 or 12 years old, my mother taught me to do a tune, this Clawhammer style, is an old-timer called Shout Little Loolie. Since that time, I recorded it and played it all over the world, and people seem to like it. And I hope you'll enjoy it now as I play it as much as I can, like my mother taught me. Shout Little Loolie. You ready?
Lonesome, lonesome Ralph. This time. Get mad at it.
I'm a man of country song. I've seen trouble all my days. I bid farewell to old Kentucky, the state where I was born and raised. For 6 long years I've been in trouble. No pleasure here on earth I find. For I'm bound to ride that northern railroad, perhaps round up on the train. Fare you well, my walking love. I never expect to see you again. For I'm bound to ride that northern railroad, perhaps round up on the golden hand has turned to silver. The master called your soul to him. Where we can be free from all our trouble, I'll meet you there at journey's end.